So one component of chi-squared is having our data. And based on our data, we're going to determine whether our events were independent or not. So we have two types of tables. We have our observed frequency table and our expected frequency. So we can think of observed frequency as what actually happened, and expected is what should have happened if the two events were independent. So let's look at our voting example here. So we have 400 people who voted, 208 voted Republican, 192 voted Democrat. There were 210 men and 190 women. So based on these values, we can see that our probability of voting Democrat was 208 out of 400. So that means the number of men we expected to vote Republican should have been this percentage of the 210 males. So 208 out of 400, I could say that that's the same as 52%. So the number of males that we expect to vote Democrat, I'm going to come down here. So of our 210, we expect 52% of them, so just over half, to vote Republican. So 210 times my 0.52. So if I work that out, I get my 109.2. Now, did I say Democrat up here? Sorry, that should have been probability of voting Republican, not Democrat. Okay, so now my number of Democrats, well, I know it has to make a total of 210. So I could either do 210 minus my 109.2, or I could do 210 times the probability of voting Democrat. Probability of voting Democrat would be 192 out of the 400, or that's going to be 48%, because I know the total should make 100%. So times 0.48. Either way, when I calculate that, I'm going to get, so I'm going to do my 210 minus that answer, and we get 100.8. The other way to find this is by actually calculating our chi-squared value. The way that we do that is with our calculator. So if I go into my matrix and set up my matrix, this one's a 2 by 2. So I had my values of 116 and 94 and 92 and 98. And then if I calculate my chi-squared test, then I find that when I calculate this, if I go back into my matrix, I can see my expected values in B, and I get the same thing that I get when I calculate it by hand. So 98.8 and then 91.2 is the value that would end up over here. I can always check it. This should sum to make 190. This should sum to make 208. So the other thing I could have done is 208 minus the 109.2. Your total should always still work out.